I'm Kat.
I'm sick.
And this is Night Class, the tipsy night class teaching the oddities and unexpected curiosities you never learned in school.
Powered. Excuse you, bitch. Powered by a thirst for knowledge and boxed wine. We cover the most fascinating lessons in history, science, true crime, pop culture, and the paranormal.
What are we drinking for this learning journey, Hayley?
We have Lover Boys today. Never before seen by us in this studio. It's got hibiscus. It's got palm. Whatever the fuck that means, because there's no pomegranate.
There's no palm.
Guys.
There's not even any, like, quote unquote natural flavors. Like, it's just, they just slap that on the label without any.
It does have water, so I don't know how much more natural you can get.
No, I mean, like, it's not flavored like pomegranate.
Oh, yeah. But if they market it to be natural, then, you know, you get brainwashed into thinking it's a natural flavor.
Stick some pomegranate juice in it. It tastes delicious, but ever since we started talking about how as monk fruit juice, I'm just like, oh, this is what monk fruit tastes like. I've never had monk fruit.
It makes me think of monk balls, like sweaty.
What?
When I think of monk fruit, I think of a monk, and then I think of his fruit hangeth from his front.
I see, I think of monkey, and that makes me think banana, and it doesn't taste like banana.
No, it doesn't. Because it's not. It's monk fruit. We
fruit.
learn new things every day.
So crazy.
It's sparkling hard tea. It's good. I wouldn't say very good.
I think it's pretty good. I think it's a fun change of pace from a regular White Claw.
Yeah. I'm going to stay loyal to White Claw, though, and say that I like them more. I shouldn't.
I think I like this more. I'm honestly not a big fan of White Claw. It tastes like I'm just drinking water. And when I drink an alcoholic beverage, I don't want it to taste like water.
Oh, okay. Some people like it when it tastes like water, but that is kind of dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very dangerous. I need to like be monitored by my taste buds. They're like, okay,
yeah,
you know what this is.
Here's some monk fruit. You should be tasting banana right now.
That's true. I guess this doesn't taste like alcohol either. It tastes like monk fruit, whatever that is.
I like it though. It works. So that's what we're drinking. As I said, I'm sick.
Yes, you are.
I'm here. I'm ready to friggin' party.
I'm sick in the heart.
I'm sick.
I'm sick because so I had a TikTok go viral, which is great. Love to see it. But that means a lot of new people are listening, which welcome. We're glad to have you.
Hello.
But also a lot of you don't like us and left us 1 star. So if you like this podcast, I need you to listen to my voice. And I know we say this at the end of every episode, but right now, seriously, like go give us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple. Grab your partner's phone, give us 5 stars on Spotify, on Apple, on their phone. Grab your mom's phone, do the same thing. Grab your best friend's phone, do the same thing. Because our ratings are going down because of these rude people who don't get it.
For liberty.
It's a fight for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, quite honestly.
And justice.
And justice.
And podcasts.
And, and people everywhere.
And
Amen.
The Americas. But yeah, please do that if you like us. If you don't like us, then keep it to your damn self.
Keep it to your damn self. Nobody cares. Obviously, if you don't like us, this is not for you. So just keep it moving.
Buzz off.
Buzz off. And that TikTok is Lad Bible asked if they could post it, which that's great. I told them yes. However, I don't think we share the same target audience with Lad Bible.
Right.
I mean, I'm not a lad. You're not a lad. I don't think lads like our podcast very much in general. So I'm a little scared of the influx of ratings we might get. But it's still a good thing. We're still glad to have new people. But
good to get the word out. Press is good
press. Right? All press is good press, but also press the 5 stars because that's the best press.
It is the 5-star and subscribe press. Double down. You gotta even it out. You gotta press it with 2 fingers at one time.
Make a burner account. Go on. Give us 5 stars again.
I know what you hoes do to get the free subscriptions for a month, making all those emails. Get those old ass emails out.
For real.
It fucking work.
I know you have I love juicy 6969 at gmail.com from when you were in 6th grade. So
I am juicy 6969.
And it would be at Hotmail, I guess, now that I think about it. But definitely
do it to it.
Do it. Do it to it. Hayley's juicy for it. She's ready for those 5 stars.
I am. Thank you all in advance. And yes, if you're not following us on TikTok already, Kat frickin' is a viral. She's a little TikTok queen. It's a great video, but TikTok doesn't want us to be great.
No, TikTok does not really like us. Yeah, they banned us. But we're back. We're back, baby. And people in the comments are telling me I need to like go to the doctor because my pupils are so small. That must mean I have like hypertension disorder or I have an alcohol or drug problem. Like the comments are wild and follow us on TikTok.
Look on WebMD will tell you everything you need to know.
That's what people are doing. I'm like, you're not a doctor.
It might just
sir.
be bright in the room. You don't know.
It was bright in the room. It was very bright, which is why my pupils are small. And I tried to like explain that. Not that I need to explain myself.
Oh, my
But
pupils.
I was like, I commented back. I was like, or it could just be bright in this room.
Yeah.
And
pupils, ever heard of them?
Tried to
obviously
Jesus
not.
Christ. I'm not made for this life. I'm very sensitive.
My pupils, they're just so small.
I have small little baby pupils.
Look at my little pupils. There's something wrong with me.
There's nothing wrong with me, I can assure you. I'm in very good health.
5 days later. Please donate to our Patreon. There's something wrong with my pupils and I need to have surgery.
I have perfect eyes. There's never been anything wrong with my pupils.
Fair enough.
Maybe that's why I don't need glasses because my pupils are so small.
I feel like that those two things are not related at all.
Maybe they are. And I've become a doctor and I've made this breakthrough. And then now not only has Lad Bible contacted me, but the University of Harvard Med is on the phone.
They're on the phone.
Wanting me to give them a consultation.
Tell them to pull up and give us some money.
That would be great.
You need to be our biggest donor, little doctor girl. Pupil doctor girl.
I'm not there yet, but someday.
Oh, okay. This was a hypothetical. Interesting. Okay.
Speaking of get that money, though, we hired an intern. Well, Alec hired her for us. Her name is Rachel, and she goes to NYU, so we know she's smarter than both of us combined. So shout out, Rachel.
We love you, Rachel. We haven't met in person yet. Or virtually.
We probably will never will. But we're glad to have her on the team. And that's all I got.
That's all I've got too. I apologize in advance for me being all stuffed up. But if you can stand it, listen on, bitches.
And keep your finger off that 1-star button, please.
Put your finger on my stars. 5 stars.
Yes.
That reminds me of when I was in 6th grade, we learned how to play recorder. Mm-hmm. Did you learn recorder?
I did in elementary school.
Okay.
And it always disgusted me. I hated recorder day because we all used, they were sanitized, but I did not trust the music teacher to fully sanitize them. And I was a germaphobe child.
Ew, you had to share recorders?
Well, yeah. They didn't give us each our own recorder to keep.
We all got our own. It was like $10.
Oh, they just had a bucket of recorders.
Ew,
yeah, it was disgusting.
That's awful.
Yeah.
The best day in recorder day was when the music teacher literally inscribed with this heat pin your name into the recorder.
Oh, that's pretty fun.
Yeah, it was super fun. But I'll never forget, our music teacher was really intense and kind of a bitch. And, the music notes are A, B, C, whatever. Yeah. So she was like, okay, everyone, put your finger on your a-hole. And I'm looking around and no one else is like reacting at all. And I'm like, come on, people, put your finger on your a-hole. Are you fucking kidding me?
Nobody react. That's how you know you had the best parents out of anyone in that room.
I went home and told my parents that that's one of my dad's favorite stories about my stories from school.
A-hole? I don't even think the holes on a recorder are technically like A-B, like it's different like combinations that make those. Maybe I just don't know recorders.
It's A, B, it's the A-hole. I don't know. Yeah, all I remember is that there's an A-hole and there's a B-hole. And when she said, put your finger on your B-hole, again, no reaction.
And then she said, put your finger on the P-hole, and the class went wild.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, amateurs.
Yeah.
You know your parents are cool when you go home and tell your music teacher, you tell them that your music teacher told you to put your finger on your A-hole, and they're like, that's funny.
My parents would have loved that too.
Yeah, instead of like calling the principal.
Never call the principal. Unless there's
principal who?
Yeah,
unless there's something wrong.
Yeah, all right. Well, I blew a 0.032.
I blew 0.011 on our breathalyzer for all of our newbies.
Hello. I blew higher number, so I go first.
Look at you acting like you know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, Hayley had to remind me how this works before the episode. This is episode 109.
It makes me feel it is 109.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm really excited for episode 111.
Why?
Little 111.
Oh, make a wish.
I like the repeating numbers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited for episode 169.
Yeah, that'll be a good one too.
Shut up. Okay.
We already passed 6. I mean, there's nothing better than 69.
Maybe episode 666.
Yes, that is
That'll
the
be a good
next
one.
best one.
So donate to us on Patreon so we can
How many
get
years?
there. Many. That's like 12 years.
Yeah.
All right.
Catch us outside.
We'll do it.
12
I forgot
years.
that I had a PSA or an announcement.
Oh, what?
We're doing a Patreon show for the Night Cats, which is $25 and up, called Trivia Night.
Oh, yeah.
Where I am fielding trivia from the listeners that I'm going to ask Kat and Hayley. And if
we're going to get all of it wrong.
Yeah. And so they can be from, do we think it should be from Night Classy episodes?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So all
or
the
just
trivia.
anything we've mentioned in episodes.
Yeah. So all the trivia I'm going to be pulling from episodes. And if you want to contribute, you're welcome to. And then eventually it will be interactive and we can have teams and everything. You can be on Kat's team or Hayley's team. And we will
Nobody choose my team. I'm a lone wolf.
Yeah.
Shut up.
But so if you want to get in on Trivia Night, I will be hosting it.
Yeah, get in on the ground floor.
That little MC.
Tad Turbo.
I saw your follow on TikTok today and I died. Tad Turbo. That's Alex's alter ego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be fun. So if you have ideas for trivia questions, send them in. So Alec has to do less work. I think that's what he's getting at. And I'm going to start. Thanks for the rude interruption, Alec. But it's time for my story.
Welcome.
So last week I did Danny LaPlante and I started my episode out and it seemed like it was going to be paranormal and then it was true crime and I felt like I'd cheated myself because I really wanted to do a paranormal story because that's my favorite.
Ooh, yeah.
So here we go. Paranormal story. Houska Castle is a Czech castle located about an hour north of Prague. It was built sometime between 1253 and 1278, depending on who you ask. But it was during the reign of Ottokar II of Bohemia.
Yes, I am familiar.
Also, I did this whole lesson and like Bohemia kept coming up. Is that like a region around the Czech Republic? I honestly don't know what Bohemia is.
The only thing I know is Bohemian Rhapsody. That is all.
Yeah, I know Vanessa Hudgens at Coachella, and that's all I know about Bohemia.
Yeah. I know like boho decor on Pinterest.
Exactly. So we're going with that.
Hold on. Can you stall for 1 second while Wikipedia loads?
Come on, Wiki.
It is the westernmost and largest historical region of the Czech lands. Bohemia can also refer to the wider area consisting of blah, 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 blah. I guess this wasn't very clear.
This is great content.
Yeah.
Boho chic. That's all you need to know. This castle sits on top of a steep, rocky cliff and looks out over pure forest. Like, there's no bitches in there.
Pure forest. 100% tree. It's just one big old tree.
Tree, another tree, nothing else. The castle itself is also exceedingly strange. First of all, just for its location. It's like I said, trees on trees on trees. It's a very remote area. It's not near any cities, no trade routes, no roads. And like I said, surrounded by thick forest and also swamp and also rocks because it's in these sandstone mountains.
Well, why didn't you say so? Swamp.
It's
a little Shrek fairy tale.
You know what? This would be straight out of Shrek.
You know what? You could literally be Princess Fiona. The more I think about it.
That's rude because she's half ogre.
I'm not saying that you are Princess Fiona. I'm saying that you like to have your alone time, and so does Shrek. And I'm just picturing you in this castle right now, and I'm picturing Shrek there, and things are getting spicy.
So what you're saying is I'm half ogre, and I'm married to an ogre, and I live in a swamp.
I'm saying
thanks a lot.
I'm saying that your skin does have a greenish tint to it. I'm just kidding.
Jeez.
I'm kidding.
I'm going to do this podcast
so
by myself.
Personal.
I take everything personal.
Don't say things like that.
So it's a castle. Usually when you put all these resources into a castle, you want it to serve some kind of purpose, except it's in the woods in the middle of nowhere. It has no strategic, military, or economic value. It's just on its own. And then there's the structure itself. If you look up at this castle, you see a lot of windows, but many of the windows aren't real.
Decoy windows.
They are. They look real from far away, but when you get closer, you realize it's just panes of glass in front of a solid wall. Which
spooky.
So spooky. It begs the question, I can see not doing real windows if you're not using glass, because glass back then was super expensive. But it is real glass. You just can't see through it because it's in front of the wall. Originally, there were no kitchens inside. There's no water source in or around the building. And the first structure didn't even have stairs to the upper floors from the courtyard.
Built by ghost for ghost.
Maybe.
Ghost house. Ghost castle.
Ghost castle.
Ghost
because
Star Us.
all of this means that it was never intended for anyone to live there. It's not functional as a living space.
It was intended to be talked about on a podcast in the year 2022.
Honestly, probably. What if a podcaster went back in time, inhabited the body of Ottokar III, or whatever the fuck his name is? I think I got it right. Good for me. And then built this castle just to make podcast content.
That's a conspiracy. Right there.
Sounds true.
What else could they have gone back and done? Let's see.
Everything.
All of time.
Yeah. What if like all the true crime podcasters just went back in time and killed a bunch of people to make content for their true crime podcast?
What is the most heinous fucked up thing I can make somebody do?
Yeah, exactly. This will make a great episode. Clickbait.
His name was Ottokar,
yeah.
Sounds like a transformer.
Ottokar.
I am Ottokar.
It's Ottokar. Ottokar. I don't know. The castle isn't fortified. It doesn't.
What does that mean?
That means it doesn't have defenses. So it doesn't have extra walls or spikes or anything to keep people out. But what fortification it does have seems to be pointed inward and keeping something in. Yeah. All of this weird shit has led to centuries of speculation and local folklore.
The fortification, is that what? That's a little too close to fornication. But anyway, that's me when I want to cancel plans. I'm like, I literally can't go out, guys.
I have to do fornication. I mean fortification.
You don't understand. I'm on the second floor of my house. There's no way to get down. I'm surrounded by swamp and mountain and forest. It's just not happening.
And my friend is Princess Fiona, and she's so ugly. I can't even go out of my room because then I'll have to see her ugly face.
Princess Fiona is not ugly.
She is as an ogre.
I don't think she is. I think she's the prettiest ogre.
Well, out of all the ogres, maybe she's the prettiest. That's not a compliment. She's not ugly, but she is an ogre.
You get canceled for
ogre shaming.
Ogre shaming. Yeah.
It's ogre gate.
I just don't think it's a compliment to be called an ogre.
Your
I
laptop
don't think that's a hot take.
It's literally
Your
Look
laptop
at this
case is
color.
green too, bitch.
Not ogre green.
Oh my God. Okay. Officially, the castle was supposed to be an administrative hub for the king who built it, but according to lore, it was built over a gaping crack in the limestone. So, like I said, this is on a limestone mountain, and there is this big crevasse that the castle was supposedly built over.
Right to Limestone Mountain, Charlie. Why build a bridge to get over the crevasse when you could just build a castle?
Shun the non-believer, shun.
Wait, what is that reference?
Oh, wow.
Oh my
You
God.
don't know. I bet you do know.
Charlie the Unicorn.
Okay.
You said okay. I don't think you
It was
know.
a YouTube thing.
What is it, Alec?
I don't know.
Wow, that's crazy.
That is crazy. So old. Excuse me.
I was just
Got
laughing
it.
at gaping crevasse.
So the castle was supposedly built over this gaping crevasse to seal what locals believe is the gateway to hell.
Ooh.
According, so I call my pussy. According,
One way in, no way out.
according,
No way home.
shut up.
Sorry.
According to legend, before this castle was built, large humanoid creatures would crawl from the pit at night and feed on the villagers and their livestock.
That's so rude.
I know. They'd be accompanied by a foul-smelling gas that would float out of the crevasse, and and it smelled bad.
This is getting personal.
In the village, so there's like this village kind of like on the outskirts, and they have all these legends about it. And I guess prisoners on death row would be given a choice. Instead of going to the gallows, they could be granted a full pardon if they just went to the bottom of this pit and reported back what they saw, because all the villagers are like, what's in there? We got to know.
How many people did that?
One. He was the first one. He was like, yes. And he was being lowered down. And just seconds after being lowered, he started crying and shrieking and begging to be brought back up. They pulled him back up. And when he returned, his hair was white and he'd seemingly aged a few decades in just minutes.
Yikes.
He was babbling uncontrollably and he looked crazed, and he never returned to normal before dying shortly after of unknown causes.
I think we know the cause.
I think so too.
When was
Something
that?
down there?
That was just like before the castle was built, and the castle was built, I think, in the 1300s, so medieval times. Villagers tried to block the gaping crevasse with stones, and they just tried to like fill it in, but the hole could never be filled. Go ahead and make your jokes. It was just like,
nothing.
it was unfillable. She had a ceaseless appetite. So eventually the king constructed a castle over the cavern to keep all the demons and shit and whatever was crawling out in. The king had the gateway to hell sealed off with stone plates up above it, and then a chapel was built directly above that inside the castle.
Oh, yeah. Stay away, demons.
Stay
Yeah,
away.
The church.
You're being
You'll
guarded by the Holy Spirit himself.
Stinky bitches.
Stinky boys. The chapel was dedicated to Archangel Michael, who was the one to lead God's armies against Lucifer and his fallen angels. So, guarding against the devils down there. And much of the lore surrounding the castle is legend, but the chapel is literally real. There was a chapel built over this area in the castle, and you can visit it today. You can go and see it.
Ooh.
Inside are some very strange frescoes that visitors report making them feel uneasy.
What is a fresco?
It's like a painting on like a plaster wall.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can picture it.
Yes, like if you go in like a cathedral, there's like paintings on the wall. And one of these frescoes is a centaur. It has the upper body of a woman and the lower body of a horse. So I feel a kinship with her. And what's weird about having this centaur in there is that's part of pagan theology, but it's inside like a Christian church. That's unheard of, especially back in the Middle Ages. Super weird. Also, the woman is using her left hand to shoot the arrow. And in the Middle Ages, left-handedness was associated with service to Satan, which I know to be true because all my exes are left-handed.
You have big left hand energy.
I date guys who are left-handed. Alex, the first right-handed guy I've ever dated.
Well, there you go. That's how you know.
That's how I like it.
How will I know?
Service to Satan. Just kidding. They're not bad people if anyone hears this, but
All
it's just my funny
exes
joke.
right with left hands.
The frescoes also depict Archangel Michael fighting a dragon and holding a small devil tied to a pole. And I just think Archangel Michael is hilarious because when I think of the name Michael, I don't think of like something like
literal
ethereal.
Not maybe actually demonic, but one of my exes was named Michael.
Yeah,
and
see, I just picture
brings like rowdy alcoholism.
Yeah, like
energy.
it gives me big frat boy vibes. Like Michael, he's majoring in comm and he's a beta theta pi. Like that's what Michael gives me.
I feel like there is a difference between Michaels and then Michaels who go by Mikes.
Well, Mike is even worse.
You think Mike is worse?
I think, Mike is a grown-up Michael. That's like when Michael gets a job at an accounting firm and has a couple kids. Then he's a Mike. And he drinks beers while barbecuing.
All the Mikes I know are good Mikes. All the Michaels are questionable.
I don't think I know. I have a cousin an uncle named Mike. He's nice. I don't know.
He's a grown Michael.
He's a grown Michael.
And I hate him.
No, I don't hate him, but I think that's the only Mike I know. I think one time, this is totally a non sequitur, just on the topic of Mikes, Mike and Nikes. I posted on Reddit one time, Mike and Nikes are long jelly beans, and everyone hated it. Nobody agreed with me.
That's true,
It
though.
is true.
That's literally true.
Right? It is true. And
why would people hate that?
because they don't agree. People
Why
got
would they
very
not
defensive
agree?
because I think people hate jelly
When you're
beans but
right.
love Mike and Nikes, and so they just couldn't
Oh, they can't wrap their little smooth brains around
smooth marble
it.
brains around my very true statement.
That's literally true.
I
Maybe
thank
if
you.
you would have said Mike and Ike's are just long, smooth, straight jelly beans.
Yeah, maybe
That
that
would
was
have
the
been
issue.
like, yes,
Yes, I can see. And they taste different. Because that was a lot of people's argument. It was like jelly beans taste like this, but Mike
it's
and
the
Ike.
same consistency.
It's the same thing. It's like a jelly thing dipped in sugar.
Yeah.
Like, what?
They don't get it.
I'm still salty about it. Historians believe that the art alludes to the demons thought to be hiding beneath the castle. Locals always avoided this castle, but it was owned by a number of different aristocrats for the first few hundred years it was built. I don't think anyone owned it for a long period of time. It was just kind of like passed around because it was useless, and nobody wanted to live there. So I don't even know why anyone owned it in the first place. It was renovated in 1580, and then in 1639, a Swedish mercenary named Oronto moved in. And let me just tell you how impossible it was to research Oronto because everything was like, do you mean Toronto? And I was like, no, I don't. Oronto was an occultist and it was obsessed with finding the elixir of life. So he was like, you don't play Stardew Valley, do you?
No, but you've shown it. Wow, you've showed it to me.
Yes. My favorite character in Stardew Valley is the wizard, and he's just like up in his like castle tower doing his like potions all the time. And that's how I picture this guy. Like he was just in the castle in his laboratory doing alchemy, trying to find the elixir of life, super like chic and goth. But the villagers hated him. They were super afraid and they stayed far away. They hated him so much they sent 2 hunters to go kill him, and they killed him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Guys,
R.I.P.
at the very least, let the guy figure out if there's an elixir of life or
Right?
not.
Like, don't you want that?
That will help you. Do something for the good of everyone.
Right? I think they were scared because he was an occultist, but whatever. Occultists are chill.
Fuck them.
The story of Oronto appears to be truly legend. I don't think there's any like actual records of this guy existing because every record is like, do you mean Toronto? But
but it was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. You never know. And by the 1700s, the castle was vacant once again. It fell into disrepair. Nobody wanted it until it was restored. And then in 1823, it was purchased by Joseph Simonek, who's the president of Skoda Auto.
So many hard words. I'm very proud of
We're
you.
in Czechoslovakia. I don't speak Czech, and there's hard words.
Yeah, you're killing it.
I'm trying my best.
At least, maybe not hard words, but words that we don't say every day.
There's a lot of like Z's and C's where they shouldn't be. I don't know.
Yeah, it makes my tongue all confused.
Oh, she's
like,
confused.
what are you trying to make me do?
In the 1940s, Nazis took over Czechoslovakia, and when they did, they took the castle. No one knows why. Like, they sent people there to take it and guard it. No, they didn't escape.
No, I'm saying they came from hell.
Oh, they escaped from the castle.
Yeah,
so it was their home
crevasse.
base. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I agree. But in a more realistic sense, we don't know why they took it.
More real way.
In a real way. Because like it's useless from a military standpoint. It's not fortified. It's not near Prague. It's nothing. It's not near any roads or resources. Why did they have people stationed here? We don't know. People speculate that the reason for it is SS leader Heinrich Himmler. And so I don't know, did you know that Nazis were allegedly like really into the occult? There's all these conspiracy theories about it. And I don't think that that's true about Hitler. I don't think Hitler was into the occult, but this Himmler guy was certified and he was a really high-ranking officer.
A lot of the higher ups were like, you remember the Hollow Earth Theory episode I did? There were a lot of Nazis who were very into that theory and close with the guy who created it.
There you go. And this guy was probably one of them. Like, he was obsessed with mysticism, witchcraft, the occult. He believed, I'm sure, like many of the high-ranking officials, that he could harness these powers to help the Nazis gain control of the world. And in 1935, Himmler founded the H Sunder Commando, and the H in this stands for Hexe, which is German for witch. And the goal of this thing was to collect as many books on the occult and supernatural as possible in order to help the Nazi cause. Much of his collection was on witches and witch hunts in medieval Germany, and this collection of books was called the Witches' Library. In these books, he discovered that one of his ancestors was burned as a witch, and he had this theory that the Roman Catholic Church had tried to destroy the German race through the witch hunts, and that's why the witch hunts happened. Obviously, that's not true, but that's what he thought.
Okay.
He ended up amassing 13,000 volumes of books on the occult and witchcraft. Yeah. And he needed somewhere to hide them. And so it's theorized that he wanted this castle because he knew, the legends about it. And he's like, this is the perfect place to keep my books safe. Like, it's out of harm's way. It's not near any cities. I can keep all my shit here. And, he was also like obsessed with harnessing this power. So maybe he also dabbled in the actual practices of the occult, wasn't just reading about it.
For sure, right?
I would think so if you're that obsessed. And so because he may have been doing his own experiments, like he may have been doing them there, especially because of the castle's reputation. And at the time of Nazi occupation, locals reported seeing strange lights and hearing scary sounds coming from the castle.
How, though? It was so far away from everyone.
Well, there were villages like surrounding the area, like small villages, but there were people around. So I thought that was creepy. And people also claimed they saw many top Nazi officials, including Himmler, at the castle.
I believe it. He's going in to rub his books and do spooky shit.
Definitely. And we do know, like, this book collection is not just a rumor. It was found in 2016 in part of the National Library of the Czech Republic, in a section that hasn't been accessed since the 1950s.
Whoa, wait. How does a section of a library not be accessed for
I don't know. I think it was just huge and in a room. So we know that the books were in the Czech Republic. So it's possible they were in this castle and then got moved.
Can you imagine moving 13,000 books to a remote castle and then moving them out?
Well, he probably didn't move them out. I would imagine that after the occupation, because someone else like came in and took the castle, and I imagine he saw all these books and maybe sent them to the National Library. I don't know exactly what
Either
happened.
way, somebody moved the books out if they were there.
Unless, I mean, because the Nazis did take Czechoslovakia, so maybe they put them in the library in the first place. I don't know. It's just a theory that he wanted this for his books. Kind of creepy.
I guess what I'm getting down to is that that's a lot of physical labor. Can you imagine doing physical labor?
Never. I could never do physical labor. And some of the books in the library, and I just thought this was interesting. They were taken from the Norwegian Order of the Freemasons.
Oh,
and
we know them.
We know them. And I just thought it was like kind of interesting that like the Freemasons confirmed have books on the occult, because there's a lot of conspiracy theories about that.
Every time I see a Freemason, like they have little, badges and things that they'll put on their car. I saw the other day. I was like, I see you.
They just publicize.
I'm in a little.
They're in a weird little
cult.
After the war, the Simonek family got the castle back, and to this day, they still own it. It's been open to the public since 1999, and visitors still report hearing screams and scratching noises from beneath the floor.
OMG, I want to go. Can we go?
Me too. I would love to go. I've been to the Czech Republic once, and I went to Český Krumlov, which is on the border of Bavaria. And it was very interesting.
It sounds like a dessert.
It does. We had dessert there. They have these like fried dough with powdered sugar on them. It's basically just a donut. They're very good.
Yeah, pretty much any dessert in Europe, I feel, is going to hit.
Yeah, it hit hard, and I would love to go back. It was weird though, like when we went over the border to the Czech Republic, we were in like a tour bus. Not a tour bus, like a what do you call those buses that you?
We were groupies on a tour.
No, like it was like one of those buses that what word am I looking for?
Yeah, like a big bus.
Yeah, a bus that you can rent, whatever.
Yeah,
like contract bus. No, it wasn't a sightseeing bus. It was like a bus service,
like it has
and
cargo
you pay,
under.
Yeah, and we were going across the border, and to go across the border, like these guys in like full military outfits with machine guns got on this bus full of high schoolers and like searched us, and then we got over the border. And Český Krumlov was a beautiful city. It was very cool, but there was like weird stuff. Like in the gas station, they had bottles of wine with like Disney princesses on it, like wine being marketed toward children. Yeah. And I don't know if that's still the case, but it was when I was there. There were some weird things.
I kind of want that though.
Oh yeah.
I want a Disney princess wine bottle.
It would be great, but it's probably not best practices to promote.
Sure. I've never said I'm into best practices.
Right. Anyway, this lesson was short, so I could stop if you want, or I have just like 3 other stairway or like gateways to hell in the world that I could talk about really quickly.
Go for it. Yes.
All right. So there's Darvaza Turkmenistan. And what this is the coolest one. I should have put this last. But there's like a desert there. And in the desert is a 230-foot wide pit full of like a raging fire. Like look up pictures of this right now. It's this crazy burning fire. And it's been burning since 1971.
What's it called?
Darvaza, Derweze. Turkmenistan. It's called the Darvaza Gas Crater.
That feels like something that should have been burning since the beginning of time.
Well, what happened was Soviet geologists were drilling in the area, and their drilling rig collapsed into a cavern. leaving a big hole. And this place is rich with natural gas. So there was all this natural gas, and the geologists were worried that it would like leak into the surrounding area. So they lit it on fire, thinking it would just burn for a couple days and then go out. But instead,
50 years later.
Yeah, it's burned for 50 years.
Holy crap. And there's no way to contain that.
No, it
Have
just
they even
burns.
explored ways to get it to go out?
Well, now it's kind of a tourist attraction. So I don't think they want it to go out, but it's just that bitch be burning.
Oh my, yeah, it's a huge pit of fire.
Yeah.
I fell in to the derber. Whatever it's called.
But yeah, so that's that.
Wild.
Yeah, super wild. Number 2 is Helm Township, PA. And there's just an urban legend here that this town has 7 gates, which if you pass through them correctly, you can open the gateway to hell. And as the legend goes, and I almost didn't want to repeat this because I feel like it's such a trope with like the quote unquote insane asylum and escaped inmates. Like, this definitely didn't happen. But the urban legend goes that in the 19th century, there was a fire at this asylum on the outskirts of town, and a number of dangerous inmates escaped. Many of them were, captured, but some weren't, and their souls got trapped in the 7 gates. And only one gate is visible in the daylight. The rest appear at night. And I think this is because there was in other versions of this story, there was a doctor who built a gate, and they did exist, and they did build this gate on their property. And I think that's the one that the urban legend refers to. But then there's 6 other, ethereal, imaginary gates.
Okay, so it's a very good story.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even know about very good.
No,
but
I don't know if it's very good.
It's
but
a campfire story.
It's a campfire story. It's like a creepypasta. And the town itself claims that this story is nonsense. There was never even an asylum there. But locals get annoyed because there's constant trespassers trying to find these gates. It's
of course,
an internet thing. And last, we have Seoul, Kansas. And Seoul is a tiny town that's home to a cemetery and abandoned church, which is said to be one of the 7 gateways to hell.
Is 7 this lucky number for hell?
I think there's a myth that there's 7 gateways to hell in the world. And I don't know, maybe that comes from Greek mythology. I'm not sure where that comes from, but that's a thing. So all these are we're one of the 7 or whatever.
Cool.
Allegedly, legends of this area have existed for over 100 years, but the first time we see them in print was in a 1974 article in the University of Kansas student newspaper. The article claims that Seoul is, quote, haunted by legions, it says legends, and I'm pretty sure I copy and pasted this. It should say legions, I'm pretty sure, of diabolical supernatural happenings. Oh no, it is haunted by legends. Okay, never mind. I read that right.
She's
haunted. And it's one of the 2 places on Earth that the devil appears twice per year. He appears on the first night of winter and the last night of spring. And then other stories say Halloween, whatever.
At 6:66 a.m.
That's right. The students who wrote this story claimed that they'd gotten the information and the legends passed down from their grandparents. So they claim this has been kind of an ongoing legend. And since then, more legends have circulated. There's one story that claims 2 men were at the cemetery one night, and then a strong wind came through and they were scared. So they went back to their car, and then their car was pointed in the opposite direction as it was when they came in. Ooh. So creepy detail. And many people, of course, claim that this place is home to cults and satanic rituals. It's where the devil comes to play. And because of all these rumors, it's listed as a stop on roadsideamerica.com.
Oh my gosh. I want to go on a road trip of Roadside America attractions.
That's what we drove, my family and I, when I was 15, we drove cross country and back. And it was fun. Every day, my brother and I would get to pick a Roadside America thing to stop at.
So fun.
It was really fun.
Not with these gas prices.
That's right.
Thanks, Biden. That's satirical. I know
this.
It's not Biden.
The stickers. Yeah, definitely not. And so if you go on Roadside America, I don't know if you've ever been on the website, but on every attraction, you can write about your experience there. And so I found someone's experience about going to the Stoll Cemetery, and I just want to read this.
Let me hear it.
I don't know if there's a gate to hell in Stoll, but my experience with it back in 2010 was a little strange. We were passing through on our way to Texas for a family reunion, and I heard there was a gate of hell in Stoll, so I managed to convince my brother to pull over, and we went to investigate. I'm pretty sure we weren't supposed to be there, but both of us kind of just casually pretended the no trespassing signs weren't present.
Oh, okay.
Right,
I was like, wait, why were you not supposed to be? Did you just get a spooky feeling? Okay, no trespassing.
I felt like we weren't supposed to be there. We didn't really expect to find anything. It was late in the evening. The sun was just about to go down. It had a spooky atmosphere, sure, but nothing that set off too many warning bells until we found the blood.
The blood.
Now, I'm perfectly aware that it almost definitely was animal blood, but it still creeped the heck out of both of us. It was this giant splatter. I'd say it would have been a deer or something that got hurt/killed because there was a lot of blood. I think someone must have come and hauled whatever it was away because there were tire tracks leading from the gate to where we were.
Or it was human blood. A human got hunted. It got trekked away.
Maybe by the car.
By the car.
By the car.
Yes, because there are tire marks.
When the sun went down, we turned on our flashlights and went to the portal itself. Definitely gave us that horror movie vibe.
I thought you said portalette. I'm sorry. Keep going.
But no demons running around with pitchforks and devil horns. The place does have an aura about it that's hard to describe. It made me uncomfortable, got my pulse going. It was probably just the rumors that got me worked up. It's probably just an average cemetery, but it gave me the heebie-jeebies, definitely.
Definitely. Okay, the blood is creepy,
That
though.
is creepy.
No doubt. I would be freaked out, too.
Me too. And my first thought was like, if this place has this reputation, like maybe people are doing like animal sacrifices there, like
all kinds of things.
DIY occult practices. Yeah. And that review is from Sam W., published in September 7th of 2015.
Thank you, Sam W.
Thank you, Sam W. That's my lesson on the Houska Castle. My sources are an allthat'sinteresting.com article called The Eerie History of Houska Castle, the Gothic Fortress Built to Steer Away a Gateway to Hell by Marco Margotov, who I cite all the time. Thank you, Marco. The Houska Castle Wikipedia page, tressbohemes.com, Bohemian Magic website, a Daily Mail article on Heinrich Himmler by Alan Hall and Ben Tuft, AmericanHauntingSync.com, RoadsideAmerica.com, an Atlas Obscura article on the Helm Township, the Darvaza Wikipedia page, and Fodors.com. That was my lesson.
Brava!
Thank you. That was it. We'll hear a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Are you feeling it down in the dumps or insecure or just depressed lately, but you feel like you need someone who's not a friend or a family member to talk to? I know I have a really hard time opening up and talking about my feelings to people who know me. So it can be really therapeutic and helpful to have an unbiased professional to unload to. BetterHelp offers licensed therapists who are trained to listen and help you. You can talk to your therapist in a private online environment at your convenience. There is a very broad range of expertise, and BetterHelp's 20,000 plus therapist network gives you access to help that may not be available in your area. And there are so many therapists to choose from. If you don't vibe with one, you can always connect to another. The whole thing about BetterHelp is it is so easy and can be custom tailored to you. You just fill out a questionnaire to assess your specific needs, and then you get matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Then you schedule a video or phone session. Plus, you can exchange unlimited text messages, and everything you share is, of course, completely confidential. And special offer to Night Classy listeners, you can get 10% off your first month of BetterHelp at betterhelp.com/classy. Again, that is betterhelp.com/classy. classy. And remember, supporting our sponsors supports this show. So please make sure you use that promo code CLASSY. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode.
Welcome back.
Hello.
Are you ready for my lesson?
Yes.
Well, I specifically picked this learning journey because I thought, ooh, Kat would like this.
Oh, good. I'm excited. Is it spooky?
I think it's spooky.
Good.
You may have been on this similar or same learning journey before, but I figure why not pull it into night classy too?
And everything I listen to goes in one ear and out the other. I can
Same.
never remember. So
Even
it'll
my-
feel new no matter what.
Yeah, even my own lessons. I'm like, oh, okay, this is one of the most popular, this type of story.
Yeah.
Bet.
It doesn't matter. That's like before we started recording, Alec was he gave us like a prompt to write about, and he read it out loud, and then he was like, should I repeat it? And I was like, no, pull it up on the screen because I have to see it with my eyes.
Look at it several times.
Yeah, 100%.
Perfect. Well, let's freaking go. All right. Private pilot Kenneth Arnold popularized the term flying saucer when he saw a string of 9 shiny unidentified objects flying past Mount Rainier on June 24th, 1947.
Ayo, little
Seattle.
Washington action.
Or is it? Yeah, it's near Seattle.
Mount Rainier. It's
Is
like
it?
an hour and a half,
Okay.
2 hours away.
Washington, to be more general. This launched the United States into a decades-long fascination with aliens and UFOs, as well as a nationwide media coverage of UFO sightings. In fact, in the last 6 months of 1947, there were over 300 claims of UFO sightings in the U.S., which is significantly more than there were before Kenneth Arnold said that he saw flying saucers. But none of this hoopla made its way to W.W. Mac Brazel, who was a rancher in Lincoln County, New Mexico. So on July 4th, 1947, when he stumbled amongst some strange debris in his sheep pasture, he didn't think much of it.
What?
Something had clearly crashed approximately in mid to late June of that year, and there was this debris strewn all about, metal strips, chunks of plastic and tinfoil, and strips of heavy, glossy, thick, paper-like material.
How on earth can you not think anything of it?
I don't
You're
know.
in the 1940s. It's not like people are flying like drones around. If you see something crashes in your sheep pasture,
Maybe he was just not that interested in doing something about it.
yeah, I guess I guess that happens. Like you just see something so weird and
Just
you're
like,
like, oh, I don't know.
I don't know what it could be, and I don't want to find out.
Fair enough.
That was his approach. So he carries what he can of the debris back to the house, and he plops it down near some bushes, and he was going to throw it out later. On his ranch in New Mexico, they didn't have phones. They didn't have TV. So he had no idea about this UFO sighting from Kenneth Arnold and about the media circus going on around that. He had nothing to do with these flying saucer sightings. But when he went into town a few days later, he heard about these flying saucers, and he's like, oh, that might have something to do with a pile of crap outside of my house.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Ask your fucking sheep or something. Yeah.
So he goes back to the house, he gathers the debris and brings it down to the police department, which is not what I would do.
What else would you do?
I don't know. I might just continue doing nothing. But thank God he did it. The sheriff is like, what is this crap? Brazel's like, one word, flying saucers. The sheriff is like, you don't have to tell me twice. And he calls in the Air Force.
What? How do you just call the Air Force?
Well, near them was an Air Force base, the Roswell something Air Force Base. Yes, the Roswell Army Airfield. So he calls the Air Force like you do when you're a police officer. They assign Major Jesse Marshall to the case. Now, Roswell was not just your run-of-the-mill Air Force base. They were not fucking around. They were an elite group that deployed atomic bombs at the end of World War II, and there were a bunch of bigwigs, and they were not there to party. They were there to be freaking serious. Okay.
Unlike other Air Force bases where they are there to party.
I feel like some Air Forces are actually there to party.
Not on base, right?
I just don't get serious vibes from the Air Force. I feel like they're a bunch of helicopter flying party boys.
Yeah, I feel like I get party boy vibes from a lot of the military, but you don't party
okay, maybe not.
I feel like it's a very serious job.
On base. Yeah, when you're on the job. But I feel like when you're not on the job and you're in the military, correct me if I'm wrong, and I know this is not everyone, but you drink, right?
That's true.
To escape reality.
Yeah, and I think it breeds, because it is, much of it's a lot of young men, and I think that probably breeds a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Frat boy culture.
You can go through some pretty traumatic experiences being in the military.
Self-medicate, baby.
We do it. It's why we started this podcast. Okay, so the Roswell Air Force, they get there and they're sent out to the crash site with Brazel and they gather the debris. Okay. The next day, July 8th,
I'm sorry. I just picture a line of sheep picking up debris in their hands and they're all walking in a little line, putting it in the truck.
Walking on their hind legs and waddling with the debris in their arms.
So cute.
They're like, you're promoted to major sheep.
And they're all just drinking beer, partying with the Air Force.
That'd be very cute.
Aww.
I think that would probably help people in the Air Force who might have PTSD if they brought more sheep in.
Sheep,
that'd be good.
Therapy pets.
Yeah.
So cute.
Sheep, goats, dogs, beer, therapy.
Beer. That's all you need. And BetterHelp. Use code NightClassy or code Classy.
So the next day, Colonel Butch Blanchard offers public information.
Butch Blanchard.
Yeah. With a name like Butch, how are you not going to be in the Air Force?
Right. You could do that or be an oil baron. So take your pick.
Good thing you went into the military, honestly. He orders public information officer, Lieutenant Walter Hott, to issue a press release about this debris that they found in the sheep pasture. And they basically said that it came to their attention that aliens are definitely real and they have a flying saucer in their possession. So that is what they put out to the public. Later that day, the Daily Record headline reads, Roswell Army Airfield captures flying saucer on ranch in Roswell region, but reveals little to no details about the actual disc. The same day, General Roger Ramey in Fort Worth, Texas, orders the debris be shipped to him immediately in Texas so that he can see it himself. So they do that. They fly in, and they also have Officer Ramey or Major Ramey. What was his name? The guy who went to see the debris. They had him fly it out to Fort Worth, and him and his staff inspect it, and they determined the debris to actually be pieces of a weather balloon.
Lie.
Obviously, the Air Force had to change their story for the public because it's just a weather balloon.
What even is a weather balloon?
It goes up there and it feels things about the temperature.
I am convinced it's a made-up thing that they made up to blame UFOs on. I don't think it exists.
We're going to talk so much about fucking balloons.
Oh, God.
You're going to... I mean, not an annoying amount, but enough for you to be like, okay, I know things about balloons now.
I can't wait.
Okay, so they're scrambling. They're like, we have to change the story. They do a press release and they send out a picture to prove that it was simply a crashed weather balloon. They had the officer, Marcel, who went to the crash site, take the picture with the debris in the office. They're basically like, show the people that you were wrong. And this is the picture that we send out.
There's a little puddle of pee on the floor under him. He's so ashamed.
It's like, thank God we don't have colored photography yet, because I would be even more ashamed.
They're digging his nose in the weather balloon. Smell it.
Cut your nose on the metal, bitch.
Did. Yeah.
And you can see the picture in my slides. We'll post these to the Instagram. But it's just him holding some what looks like aluminum foil. Big aluminum foil is what it looks like. And
It does look
"Hold
like a
it up."
balloon. That does not look like something that can withstand outer space.
For
Gonna
sure.
go ahead and say it.
For sure. It looks sus. But is that the actual debris? Bum, bum, bum. Yes, it is. Anyway, the next day, so they send that picture out, and the next day, the Roswell Daily Record, their headlines reads, "Harassed rancher who located saucer, sorry he told about it."
Sorry, Daddy.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do fake news. Razzle told the newspaper the wreckage was just some rubber strips, tinfoil, and a rather tough paper and sticks.
I mean, that's still weird, though, to show up in the middle of your field.
Yeah, what's out here crashing?
No. Not weather. Surely not weather balloons. Those don't
weather
exist.
balloons? Yeah, they're not even a thing. And with Razzle's statement and General Ramey's picture proof of it being a weather balloon, the nation forgets about anyone ever seeing anything about alien aircraft. For decades. Literally decades. Until 1978.
Is this the Barney and Betty story?
I don't even know what that is.
Never mind.
So no,
Okay.
it's not. Stan Friedman, a nuclear physicist and UFO researcher, you might call him a ufologist, interviewed Jesse Marcel, the intelligence officer who reported at the Roswell crash site. And this interview blew the Roswell incident open all over again. At this point in time, Jesse Marcel was now retired, and he told Friedman that he believed the wreckage was 100% not a weather balloon. In another interview, Major Marcel talked about the metal debris. Quote, and this is kind of a long one, so hold on to your donuts. Quote, "It felt like you had nothing in your hands. It wasn't any thicker than foil out of a pack of cigarettes. But the thing about it that got me is that you couldn't even bend it. You couldn't dent it. Even a sledgehammer bounced off of it. I knew that I had never seen anything like that before. It was not from this earth. That I'm quite sure of. Being an intelligence officer, I was familiar with just about all materials used in aircraft and or air travel. This was nothing like that. It could not have been."
So all that crinkly, crumpled up stuff was like immovable. Like you couldn't bend it. It looks super thin and crinkly.
He said that, and it does look crinkly. And other sources did go on to say that it was like you could bend it for just a second and then it would snap back very quickly.
Weird.
So we're getting kind of mixed signals here.
Mm-hmm.
And after that interview, Friedman, this UFO researcher, is like, okay, obviously I have to look into this more. And he interviews more and more people who said that they witnessed this crash and the kind of hoopla that went on around it afterwards, ranging from civilians to military personnel. Friedman came to the simple conclusion that there had been a massive cover-up of the Roswell incident in 1947, as he called it, a Cosmic Watergate.
Ooh, that's cute.
I know, right? Friedman believed the cover-up included the crash site, the materials, the spacecraft, and alien bodies.
Alien bodies.
Alien bodies.
No. Ew.
Yes. Ew
The
is
sheep
correct.
ate them.
For sure. Or they just turned into sheep because they're aliens and they can just do that.
There's just like one green sheep.
He's like, bah.
And you're like, that's Princess Fiona. And she's like, how dare you?
Oh my gosh. Princess Fiona is a strong individual who has great vocal cords.
She's
She's
half
a star.
monster.
Oh, so ogres are monsters
Yes,
now.
objectively they are.
How are you going to say that ogres are monsters, but then get all excited about centaurs? Make it make sense.
Listen, if you called me a centaur, I wouldn't be happy with that either.
You're a centaur. And
How dare you?
For the record, I do not think you are either.
Thank you.
But I could see you being friends with Fiona. How about that? Is that a
Sure.
better
Yeah,
statement?
she seems lovely.
Seems lovely.
I don't want to be called an ogre.
They have
bad
you an
breath,
ogre.
and Shrek brushes his teeth with dead bugs. So, no.
Okay, that's fair. I would also not want to brush my teeth with dead bugs, but you would get along well with Fiona. You would get along well with Shrek is actually what I was saying.
No, he's gross. He's gross.
He likes to be
the opening
secluded.
sequence. No, the opening sequence of that movie always
did it in.
grossed me out. I did not like that.
My gosh, Shrek is one of my favorites. I think that's what made me love it. It's like, ew, I like
How
it.
gross he is. I can't. I don't do fart jokes.
Yeah, I know. Oh my gosh, I started the not knockoff, but Big Mouth released their HR department series. It makes me so sad. You and Tommy don't like it. And I don't get it. I love it so much.
I can't.
Okay, well, there's a lot more left to go. So let's get into the two main theories around the Roswell incident. Theory number 1, the events at Roswell happened exactly as they were reported, and the wreckage was actually just a weather balloon. But in 1994, the United States Air Force released a report stating that it actually was a cover-up. A cover-up of Project Mogul. Project Mogul consisted of researchers from a bunch of different universities that I don't feel like I should say them to talk about how credible they were, but I feel like it's boring. Including
How many universities?
Columbia University, New York University, and the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution.
Woods Hole.
Woods Hole. 2 words.
Okay. Interesting.
So, there we go. But they have been working on a spying device since World War II. They would use sturdy balloons, like the fake weather balloons, to carry low-frequency sound sensors, aka microphones, into the tropopause, which is a part of Earth's atmosphere that acts as a sound channel. Much like sounds easily flow through water, they do the same thing in the tropopause. Okay, so their idea was that if they could get these microphones attached to the balloon up high enough, they could eavesdrop on any potential nuclear tests in the USSR.
What? This sounds fake. Is this real?
Yeah, Project Mogul. Well, apparently it's real. Or is it just a cover-up for a cover-up?
I am so hungry right now that all calories have left my brain and I didn't process anything you said. So I'm going to go with it's fake.
Okay.
Because I can't understand.
Do you want me to re-explain it?
No.
Or do you want me to move
please
on?
Don't. Move on.
Okay. So they're saying that the debris found on the ranch was the remains of this Project Mogul balloon that crashed a month after its launch. The project was highly classified, so that's why no one at Roswell knew about it. And some officials were worried that it was actually a Russian spy plane or satellite because they couldn't confirm or deny if it was actually the United States experiment. And they were not willing to share that information with the public.
Right.
So they just went along with the weather balloon story. No one from Project Mogul came forward to clear everything up until the 90s. Now, Project Mogul's balloons were tested around the United States and in the Pacific. One of them was over New Mexico in the summer of 1947. Who knows? The Project Mogul balloons were massive, though, measuring over 650 feet long, and they had a tail attached to it with all of the microphones. I believe
So it was kind of like a blimp?
Yeah.
Was it round like a sphere?
It was round at the top. It was odd. Go to the next one, Alec. Yeah, there we go.
Oh. It looks
So
like
it's
a
like
condom.
Round at the... It does look like a condom. There's not... In this picture that we see, there's not like any of that aluminum type
Yeah, I was going to say,
material.
that's see-through. That's not what we saw.
And even there was a weather balloon demonstration at the University of Texas in that summer. And this one just looks like a regular balloon as well. It's none of that. The next one, yeah. So you can see it just looks like a really big balloon.
Yeah, that's just a balloon.
But see that bottom part? That's where it kind of looks like an origami. It's shiny. It has a sheen to it that could be aluminum foil-y type, but it could be the debris that they found
but it
at
doesn't
Roswell.
look like it.
It doesn't, right?
No.
And you would think that it would kind of all stay attached. I would think if it's meant to go up into the the atmosphere, but this stuff was all strewn about.
That sort of looks like it. The triangular nature of it.
Sort of look like it.
If you're watching on YouTube, we've got images here, but the origami thing kind of looks like the thing that's on the floor at this army guy is showing.
Yeah. But it also looks like a UFO, so.
Yeah.
So there's that. Now, in February 1994, the General Accounting Office of the United States Congress initiated an audit per the request of New Mexico Congressman Steve Schiff, who is a UFO skeptic. Wet ass blanket.
Yeah. Fuck him.
They wanted to locate all the government records related to the Roswell incident to determine if they were handled properly. Basically, this congressman wanted everyone to shut the fuck up about the Roswell incident. There were no UFOs. There were no aliens. The report was published by the United States Air Force in 1995. It was titled The Roswell Report, Fact vs. Fiction in the New Mexico Desert. Kind of sassy, if you ask me.
Yeah, it is.
Fact versus fiction.
Are you smart or are you dumb?
Are you with us or are you against us? Are you fun or are you not fun?
Yeah. I'll choose dumb and fun over smart and not fun any day.
Every day.
Every time.
I mean, I literally don't even have to make the choice anymore. It is nature. They found no evidence of aliens or alien spacecraft being involved, and the debris in the pasture was most likely from a Project Mogul balloon. They also stated that the initial report from 1947 calling it a flying saucer was an overreaction, and they probably just called it a flying saucer because it was such a new term and they didn't know how to use it properly.
And they really wanted soft pretzels dipped in queso.
What?
Flying Saucer, the restaurant.
Oh, yes. Oh my God. You are hungry right now.
I'm
Jesus.
starving. I'm like fantasizing about all the food I could go pick up after this.
I have some cough drops if you want some cough drops.
I don't.
In 1997, however, another report was released by the Air Force called the Roswell Report, case closed, period. They offered a possible resolution to the claims that alien bodies were found at the crash site. In the mid-1950s, the military tested the effect of parachuting or jumping out of a plane without a parachute.
They had to test that?
They tested it they wanted to figure out what it would do to human bodies, but they used dummies with latex and or plastic skin, like the car dummies that they test cars
Why'd
on.
they test that?
Because you never know when you're going to have to jump out of a plane being in the Air Force, right?
But it's like, what's better?
To know
using
or
a
to
parachute
not know.
or not using a parachute.
what
Obviously
if you
using a parachute.
Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is that they had way too much money.
Sounds like it. Were they trying to figure out like, will you definitely die if you jump out
Will
without
you die
a parachute?
a little bit or will you die a lot?
Or like, is there like a better way to fall? Which I don't know how you can test that with a dummy. I'm sure
Face
they
down,
figured it
ass
out.
up. That's the best way to jump out of a plane. As someone who's parachuted, skydived. I guess skydiving is the same as parachuting, right?
Yeah.
As someone who's done it, definitely face down, ass up.
Okay.
That's the way.
And do you think you would, if you did it again, would you use a parachute or you wouldn't use a parachute this time?
I would say that I would definitely use a parachute.
Okay.
If I did it again.
Okay.
I would maybe free fall for a little longer. Maybe go ass down, face up.
Whoa.
I didn't
You
try
wouldn't
that.
see the ground coming. Come getcha.
Use a mirror.
There are a few people that have survived their parachutes not opening.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's so insane. I almost didn't survive it with a parachute and someone strapped to my backside because it was so scary.
Yeah, that is terrifying.
But anyway, back to the Air Force testing how to fall out of the air with the least amount of damage. They did these tests, and due to the claims of people saying that they saw these weird-looking bodies at the Roswell crash site, the United States Air Force is like, well, it was probably one of our dummies. And everyone is like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But wait, those tests weren't done until the mid-50s. The Roswell incident happened in 1947.
So like whenever I say something wrong on this podcast, and I just hope no one like notices the like time that I got the year wrong.
Year schmear.
Yeah, just nobody pays attention to that part anyway.
We're living in the present. Yeah, which is why I had to bring it up again.
Yeah.
The government, of course, had an answer for this too. Air Force Colonel John Haynes basically said that people were just mixing up their dates and said that details tend to become compressed. He and the Air Force firmly believed that all of these witnesses were confusing events that happened in 1947 for nearly a decade later. Like all of these people, there were hundreds in these interviews that Friedman did, were just confusing these events.
And then he goes home and tells his girlfriend, you never told me to do that. Why are you getting so mad? You're so emotional.
Yeah, he was the original gaslighter. If people could look through phones back then, his girlfriend definitely would have looked through his phone, found some shit she did not like, and she would have stayed with him because he gaslit the shit out of her. But instead, he gaslit the U.S. public. Which would be weird for that many people to confuse. I feel like that would be kind of a traumatic thing to see what you thought were bodies of either humans or aliens.
Definitely.
And be like, oh no, you're off by a decade.
Did anyone like get up close to them?
I don't know. It was very hard to get the nitty gritty details.
Because I'm like, if you see a body like from far away, okay, maybe like you can be told it's a dummy, but
yeah. And another thing is that these bodies were described to be little at the Roswell crash site, like 4 feet or under, people estimated. But all of the dummies in the drops from the 50s were 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then I didn't include this in my notes because it's a whole other branch to this whole story. But as you can imagine, this Roswell crash site has become a huge tourist attraction.
Right.
And there's a museum there. And in that museum, I don't know if it's still there or not, they said that they had an alien body in there. It was encased in glass. There was this whole like basically fake documentary made around it.
The Alien Autopsy.
It never ended up coming out. The trailer was made.
Yeah.
But it ended up being a mummified like body of a 2-year-old Native American.
Oh God. And they just had that in a case?
Yes. And they called it like, yeah. So it was just so much information that I was like, let me stay on track for
that's its own learning journey.
Incident.
Jeez.
Yeah. I don't think it surely is not in that museum anymore, but that was a whole other thing. So another learning journey for another time. Okay. Back to this. Another creepy detail. When requesting files from the Roswell Air Force of all things related to the Roswell incident from 1947, they found that all of the files from January to October in 1947 had been destroyed.
Oh my God.
There was nothing. Which is also probably why it's hard to pin down what the witnesses apparently saw and things like that. Like we have these interviews, but all of the documents were destroyed.
Yeah, stuff like this. It's like if it's not an alien, obviously it's something else that they don't want us to know.
If it's not a big deal, then stop making it a big deal. So there's that. That was theory number 1. Theory number 2. There are aliens and the government covered it up. Most of this theory is from interviews from those who provided eyewitness testimony. So I hope as you are already taking this all with a healthy dose of salt, but it's just fun. So specifically, a lot of these interviews were with authors Thomas J. Carey and Donald R. Schmidt, who wrote a book together called Witness to Roswell, Unmasking the 60-Year Cover-Up. There are apparently over 600 witnesses to the Roswell incident, ranging, again, from civilians to high-ranking military personnel. Here's some creepy details.
Okay.
The official record says that Mac Brazel, the rancher, he took the debris to the local sheriff, George Wilcox. But apparently there are a bunch of crash site witnesses that describe this crash site as something out of this world. Brazel told a local radio personality, Frank Joyce, that the crash site was likely a UFO and that there were alien bodies on the scene. This whole admission was recorded, but the station didn't air the interview after receiving several phone calls from the FCC and Senator Dennis Chavez urging them not to air it.
Wait, the rancher said there were alien bodies?
The rancher did.
And at first he was like, I'm just not going to tell anyone about this. Like, remember when he didn't care?
Yes, I do remember that.
He's like, free food for the sheep.
Yeah.
What?
Maybe they came later.
But if it
Maybe
crashed,
they came
they'd
to,
be
to
there.
grab their shit.
No, well then
Maybe
why'd they
it-
be dead in the fields?
Maybe it was an alien weather balloon.
No.
And then it crashed.
No.
That's a great question. I'm just presenting you with what the research
Okay.
says. Okay.
Okay.
Eyewitness testimony from Major Jesse Marcel, the intelligence officer. Okay, I did not finish that sentence.
What? Hate when that happens.
What? There's a missing quote. Now that is sus. As we remember, the United States Air Force said they had a flying saucer. They said that they had a flying saucer, only to go back on their word the next day. Mac Brazel also recanted all of his statements about there being a flying saucer or a UFO related to the Roswell incident. According to Brazel's neighbors, shortly after publicly recanting his statement about the UFOs, Brazel bought himself a brand new pickup truck and left his ranching job to work in Alamogordo, New Mexico.
What was he doing there?
Probably relaxing, maxing, chilling it out cool with his new retirement fund from the United States Air Force.
Oh, he
For
got
being
money.
quiet.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
little hush money. Local people from the town and Brazel's family also told Carey and Schmidt that Brazel had been detained by the military right before he bought his new pickup truck and left town. Locals also told the authors about how the military personnel threatened them to keep them quiet and raided several of their homes looking for any stolen crash site debris.
Okay. They didn't get a sick deal like Razzle. That's not fair.
Brazel.
Razzle. Little
Razzle.
Brazzle. Yeah.
Colonel Hunter Penn's foster daughter later corroborated all of this, stating that her foster dad told her that he had been assigned to an information blackout with a focus on little bodies, in which he was allowed and encouraged to use physical force and guns if necessary.
So they were alive?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think what she was saying was that he was scaring the townspeople into being quiet about the
I
little
thought
bodies.
he was arresting the aliens.
You don't get Miranda rights
Yeah.
because you're from outer space. Another contradiction was that Colonel Butch Blanchard approved the very first flying saucer press release, but right after that, he mysteriously went on administrative leave.
I wish something crazy would happen to me at my job so I could get a chunk of money from the government and go on administrative leave.
Oh my gosh, yes. I'm trying to slip. I'm trying to rip. I'm trying to do it all. Just kidding. Not actually. But I mean, a little bit. Accidents happen.
Show me the aliens. I will take the hush money.
Yes, I will definitely take the hush money. I mean, everything is aliens from here on out. The kids are acting crazy. Aliens. The kids are acting crazy. They are aliens. So he went on leave. And according to Lieutenant Colonel Joe Briley, who was under Blanchard, the leave was actually a cover-up to coordinate a cleanup of the crash site. So some things are just not lining up here. Another contradiction. The picture in General Ramey's office of the official crash site materials. So there is this sealed document written by Lieutenant Walker Hott, who was the public information officer in this whole case, which he wrote sealed up and stated that it was only allowed to be opened after his death. And in that statement, he claimed that the photo was a hoax. He claimed that the actual crash materials were substituted with weather balloon materials, and they were photographed with Marshall, which obviously upset Marshall because he's like, I know what I fucking saw, and it was not a weather balloon. Also, this other guy, Ben James, he was a personal pilot to Major General Lawrence C. Craigie. I know there are a lot of names, but if you can just follow on the actions and what I'm telling you, the names don't matter so much. But basically,
one guy in my brain is a French fry, the other is a grilled cheese sandwich, and then we have a mozzarella stick. I'm just hungry.
Yeah, me too. So a personal pilot to this bigwig guy in the Air Force. This guy in the Air Force was in charge of an engineering division at Wright Field, which is an Air Force base. A lot of people think that UFOs and aliens are taken to this Air Force base. So his private pilot stated that he flew Craigie to Roswell. He examined the crash site, and after a few hours of examining it, he asked his private pilot to fly him directly to D.C., where he then met with President Truman. A few months after that, Craigie, the Air Force guy, was promoted to Air Force Chief Director and launched Project Sign, which was the first official investigation of UFOs by the United States Air Force. I don't know. Is it correlation? Causation? Who's to say? Okay, let me speed through this last part here. I know you're hungry, and I know it's been long. So I have some final creepy details. Okay. So the reported alien bodies at the scene. Witnesses were very consistent in their descriptions, and even military personnel said that they saw these little bodies. Weird, right?
Very ew.
As far as the aircraft goes, for years, Sergeant William Ennis denied the crash, denied that the materials were anything but a weather balloon. But then in 2008, he admitted, quote, "It was a spaceship. After all these years, I still don't know how that ship flew. There was no engine. But before I go, I'd like to know."
Okay. See, it's the lying for me. You don't get to just come back decades later and say what you want to say.
I don't know how old he could have been. I mean, not
snake.
to say that everyone has dementia when they're old, but I mean, the older you get,
oh no, I believe
declines.
what he's saying. I just think he should have said it earlier.
Yeah, for sure. But also, he was very old at that point in time. Like, plenty of things.
Yeah, I guess
happen.
he's also like, what are they going to do to me now? I may as well tell the truth, which I guess that's fair.
Yeah. And I'm scared of the military. Oh, if I worked for them, I could definitely be scared or paid into silence.
Oh, definitely. I guess I was just saying I'd take the hush money 2 minutes ago, so I can't talk too much. I just wish I wish everyone would just tell everyone that aliens are real and we wouldn't have to play the guessing game. I want to see an alien.
Why are we not allowed to know?
Right. What are we going to do?
What's the big fucking deal?
What are we going to do? Go to outer space and fight an alien? I don't think we are.
Nothing's going to change.
I don't have a spaceship. I can't do jack shit.
Right. We're not all Jeff Bezos.
Right. There's only one of him.
Fuck.
And I'm sure the aliens could beat him in a fight.
Oh, definitely.
In fact, I invite them to try.
Fuck him up.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk more about the scattered debris. Some people think that the photo that was posed was fake material. Some people think that it is tinfoil. Some people think that it's super strong material. Many claim who saw the material that it was something called a memory metal. More than 24 witnesses described the metal to be weightless, smooth, thin, and indestructible, as it couldn't be cut, scratched, or burned, but it could be temporarily manipulated. From one of the sergeants, he said, quote, "I picked it up, but once in the palm of your hand, you could wad it up into a smaller ball. Then when you let it go, it would immediately assume its original shape in just a second or two." Just
Sounds
like that.
The best fidget toy. Give me a piece of that.
Oh my gosh, yes. I wonder if it was loud. Or I'd have one
like
right here.
Crinkly.
Yes. Like a baby toy.
Yeah, like that little like yeah, I know what you're talking about. Can bite it.
Oh my gosh, you have like an oral fixation with some of these sensory tools.
Yeah, I like when things squeak on my teeth.
Ooh, okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my students grind their teeth together. Does that bother you?
Yes, I can't handle it.
Okay.
It drives me insane.
I can handle it, but a lot of people can't.
I can't.
Okay.
Alex sometimes when he sleeps will grind his teeth and I feel so bad, but I have to wake him up and make him stop.
Oh my gosh. Yes. It's not fair for one person to get sleep and the other one not to.
It's just like I don't know if it would keep me up, but it's just a horrible noise. Like I just imagine my teeth grinding together. Ew.
How often do I do that?
Not very often. It's happened like just a handful of times.
Gotcha.
But
Because
when
I was like, I have
happens-
no memory of you ever waking me up.
Yeah, it's only happened a few times, but when it happens, I know. And I don't like it.
Oh my gosh. That's me every night with snoring.
Yeah,
But
I'm gonna count my blessings on the teeth grinding for that one.
yeah, you should. You should. Okay. Some parts of the metal, though, were easily changed or ripped, but some parts were super strong. And even when they took hammers to them, they weren't dented.
Maybe they just weren't strong.
I don't know. I feel like it's spooky.
Yeah, it's
Stop
definitely no, I'm not. I was just trying to insult them more than anything.
Yeah, that's fair. A memo from the 1980s detailed a conversation from September 1950 between a physicist and Department of Defense research consultant Robert Sarbacher and other government scientists. Sarbacher worked on a failed reverse engineering project, I think for this metal, and said, quote, "All I know is we didn't make them, and it's pretty certain they didn't originate on Earth."
Ooh, where's the metal now?
Probably in, I don't know, some Air Force base. I don't know where it is now.
I need People Magazine to do like a "Where are they now" segment, and it's just this fucking metal.
I was gonna say it's probably destroyed, but obviously
They can't
be
destroy it. I need to see it. And I need a little piece of it to chew on.
Yeah, you can attach it to a necklace so it's with you all the time, and just like a little like,
oh yeah,
or make a grill out of it. And just have it like a little grill
gold
insert.
tooth.
Yeah, it's perfect.
There is that one guy who worked there in his 20s that like went completely rogue. And he's like in his 60s now, but he just tells everybody about what he saw.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll have to find his name.
yeah, find
yeah,
him.
please do.
All the UFO people are screaming at this.
Yeah, Alec went through a big UFO phase, early
There's-
pandemic.
Oh my, I mean, how can you not?
Yeah.
I stumbled on this blog that I pulled some information from that we're about to get to in just a second, but it is so Interesting.
Yeah, I feel like
community
once
is so strong.
Once you go down that wormhole, it's hard to get out.
You're in it. Yes.
Bob Lazar.
Bob Lazar. We tried to watch his weird documentary.
Didn't work out too well.
It's not his documentary.
He's a bit of a weirdo, but I like that he's telling secrets.
I do too. Please, I mean, I want to know all the secrets. I don't like to be involved in drama, but I want to know it.
Yes.
Not to be mistaken with Jeremy Corbell, the really weird guy who made the documentary.
Oh, maybe that's who I'm thinking of.
Yeah. Bob Lazar is a very engineering scientist guy.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the weirdo.
Yeah. He talks about how they were basically in these hangars and there would be like 10 UFOs in the hangar and like guys trying to figure out how to fly them. And they were all tasked with reverse engineering these things. And he said that it was as if you went back to cave people and dropped like a Harley Davidson motorcycle and they had to figure out how to make it. He was like, we had no idea how they would do this stuff.
Why can't they just let us know about these things?
Yeah, literally, what are we going to do?
The argument is that it's so powerful that it could cause really weird global political stuff if like the Russians know we have it, or if the Russians have it and we don't. So it was sort of like an arms race of alien technology that they didn't want anyone to know that they had it. So they went to extreme lengths.
So does he ever say like so he's in the camp, we haven't communicated with them, we just have some of their tech and we're trying to keep the tech safe?
I haven't heard him go into communication, but he does say that we know how to pilot a lot of their stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want that to be my job.
Know how to pilot it. Oh my God.
Maybe I do want to join the Air Force.
Maybe I do want to be super smart and know things. This is crazy.
And he said like inside some of the UFOs, like it was all just like impossibly smooth chairs, and that like inside that smoothness, like doors would open and windows would open and stuff, and they couldn't really quite figure out how to control it. But it wasn't like there was metal buttons and stuff. It was just this smooth substance.
Ooh, like this mystery metal. Spooky. Where am I in my notes? That's a great question, Hayley. Oh, yes. Okay. Let us recall Major Jesse Marcel, the guy who reported to the scene from the Air Force. One of his quotes after all of this went down and was out in the media and all of that after the 90s, quote, "All I could do is keep my mouth shut. And General Ramey was the one who told the newsmen what it was and to forget about it. It was nothing more than a weather observation balloon. Of course, we both knew differently." So he believes, General Ramey fucking believes, but they have to keep it secret.
Oh my, I just think that they should have come up with a better scapegoat than a weather balloon. Because to me, that's the weakest shit. I don't think it's good.
Why do you think it's bad?
Because it's a balloon. That's not a balloon.
Yeah, but
like,
that
and also,
part,
how often do weather balloons come up in your daily life? Like, they don't just crash and everyone sees them.
The last time I ever even heard of a weather balloon was when that kid supposedly in Arizona or New Mexico. Balloon boy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was that a weather balloon?
It wasn't even real. It was some.
I thought he really did. I thought his parents put him in like a balloon
was in the
thing.
fucking attic or some shit, or in a closet or something. No, and actually, now that you say that, it wasn't a weather balloon. I keep saying obviously tonight. I don't know why.
You should do Balloon Boy as a topic.
I should do that. We need to brush up on him.
Just do a balloon episode.
All
balloon theme.
Yeah. Okay, Tommy got very upset with me when he learned that I can make dog balloon animals.
Yeah.
And he was like, I didn't know that about you.
Don't you have a bunch of animal balloons and a pump?
Yeah, remember we couldn't blow them up though. They're freaking indestructible.
They're fake. Yeah. They don't work. You need to get new ones. Yeah, I'm a little mad at you too. Why isn't our house filled with balloon animals?
We have enough animals as
That's
it is.
True. Good point.
4.
I have a very strong sense memory of those balloons.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. There is a $10,000 reward for any person, group, or lab who can actually decipher what is called Ramey's memo. Ramey's the general in Fort Worth who had all of the materials rushed to him. And during the excitement around the Roswell accident, he was photographed holding a memo. The date of the picture has been established by various records, including those from the Bettman Photo Archives, which held 2 of the negatives. It's dated July 8th, 1947, and was transmitted over the INS wire service at 11:59 p.m. So that is an up close picture. It is like barely, you can barely even freaking read it. But the original picture is at the same time that they posed with Maisel. Okay. It's 100% illegible.
Yeah, you cannot read that.
But people see what they want to see. And researchers have conducted a multitude of scans and tests and tried different methods to figure out what the thing says. Different people say it says different things, but a lot of people believe that the first line that they can read says something like, as the blank, 4 hours, the victims of the blank at Fort Worth, Texas, crash story, something along the lines of emergency powers are needed and things like that.
Okay, I see it now.
Right. It's all made up, really, but there are a lot of people and professionals who are committed to figuring out what Ramey's freaking memo said, and we've been unable to find it. I am one of them now, have been unable to find
the
it.
royal we.
In the archives. No actual evidence that we know of aliens has been found, even after 2 archaeological digs were conducted at the site and found nothing. But Roswell remains a tourist attraction at the very least for all things alien. To this day, there are plenty of people who still believe the government is covering up these alien landings around Roswell, and it blows my mind. I love to think that there is something there. Maybe there is, maybe there's not, but I thought that it was a fun thing for us to discuss.
Yeah, I'm fully in the camp of it happened.
Me too.
Like 100%.
All of this hoopla to go on, and it just seems like a whole lot of cover up for there to be nothing.
Yeah, it's too many witnesses.
It's not a weather balloon.
Not a
weather
weather
balloons
balloon.
are fake.
They are fake.
Just like birds.
Yes.
All right. Well, my sources are Roswell, the UFO Mystery That Still Haunts America by ABC News, Australia on YouTube, Roswell by History.com editors, University of Texas at Arlington Special Collections, Roswell UFO Incident, What Really Happened at Roswell by Adam Janos, Roswell's Bizarre UFO Crash by BuzzFeed Unsolved Network on YouTube, and KevinRandall.blogspot.com. Ramey memo update.
Thanks, Kev.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm going to be exploring your blog for some future learning journeys.
We've now been blocked on TikTok again for that comment.
I'm going to hit your blog spot.
Oh,
In a pro. Ooh, okay. We're almost at 2 hours. So
Yeah,
let's wrap this shindig up.
School night. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Remember to rate and review. Again, look at me in the eyes.
Hit the 5 stars.
Yes, I am your captain now. Rate and review right now. 5 stars, like Hayley said. Tell a friend about us. Tell them to give us 5 stars and keep listening. Check out our Patreon. Good stuff happening there. And we love you.
We love you so much.
3, 2, 1.
See you around.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Class dismissed.